Oh, there he goes.
Bigfoot sightings have always been a famous topic, sparking debates that are as heated as family holiday dinner arguments. Skeptics love to roll their eyes and believers, well, they'll argue until they're blue in the face. But out of all the blurry videos and shaky stories, one encounter deep in Washington's forests has truly shaken things up. This isn't the usual, "I think I saw something" kind of tale. It's extraordinary, eerie, and impossible to ignore. A man's first-hand experience, backed by what some call the clearest photos ever taken of Bigfoot, has even skeptics scratching their heads. Could this finally be the proof Bigfoot believers have been waiting for? The sheer allure of Bigfoot stems from its mysterious nature, a creature shrouded in mystery, straddling the line between folklore and reality. Over the years, countless reports have emerged from individuals who claim to have seen the elusive giant. But this particular encounter stands apart. Why? It's not just the vivid details of the sighting, but the emotional weight of the story itself. A man, seeking solitude in a remote cabin, found himself face to face with something that defied explanation. It's an account that not only captured the attention of Bigfoot enthusiasts, but also forced skeptics to take a second look. A cabin in the woods. Deep in the heart of Washington's untamed wilderness, a man whose name remains unknown sought refuge in a remote cabin. It was meant to be a tranquil getaway, a chance to disconnect and find peace. But peace is the last thing he found. On the second night, as the fire's glow cast flickering shadows, unease crept into the cabin. At first, it was nothing more than the ordinary sounds of a wooden structure settling. The occasional groan of the timber, the crackle of embers, and the distant rustle of the forest seemed mundane, until they weren't. Then came the sound. A faint shuffle, like leaves being disturbed, just outside the cabin. He dismissed it as a passing animal, perhaps a deer. But when the sound persisted, growing louder, his heartbeat quickened. Curiosity mixed with fear, urging him to investigate. That's when he saw it. A massive handprint had appeared on the frosted windowpane. Its size was astonishing, dwarfing any human handprint he had ever seen. The edges of the print were jagged, the fingers elongated and alien. He stepped closer, hoping the firelight would offer clarity. That's when he saw the face. At the edge of the firelight, just beyond the safety of the cabin's walls, a figure loomed. Its features were unlike anything he could comprehend. Wild, matted hair framed a broad, shadowed face with deep-set eyes that seemed to glow faintly in the dark. The eyes weren't menacing, but curious, almost as if the creature was studying him. Time seemed to slow as the two locked gazes. The sheer size of the figure was overwhelming, its presence dominating the small clearing around the cabin. He wanted to scream, to run, to do anything but stand frozen. But his body betrayed him, paralyzed by a mix of awe and terror. And then, instinct took over. He grabbed his phone from the table beside him. His fingers trembled as he unlocked it, fumbling with the camera app. Would the creature disappear before he could capture it? What if it didn't? He snapped the first photo. The flash startled him as much as it did the creature. For a moment, the light illuminated the towering figure in stark detail. Its muscular frame, its thick fur, and the unmistakable intelligence in its eyes. The creature didn't flee but remained still, as though it was unbothered by the human's attempts to document it. Photo after photo, the man continued, his fear momentarily overridden by the need to preserve the moment. Each click of the shutter brought him closer to the reality of what he was seeing. Yet, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature melted back into the shadows, its movements silent and fluid. The night grew eerily quiet once more. The man stood there for what felt like hours, phone still clutched in his hands, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. The cabin felt less like a sanctuary and more like a fragile barrier between him and the vast unknown outside. Every creak of the wooden floorboards, every gust of wind against the windows made him jump. He barely slept that night. The images of the creature burned into his mind.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When dawn broke, he finally summoned the courage to review the photos. Most were blurred, a chaotic mess of light and shadow. But a few, just a few, were crystal clear. They revealed a creature unlike anything documented before. Its sheer size, the complex details of its fur, and the intensity of its gaze were undeniable. This was no hoax, no bear, no trick of the light. It was something entirely new. The unforgettable photos. The isolation of the cabin, once a comforting retreat, now felt like a trap, a place where he was utterly alone with whatever lurked beyond the thin wooden walls. Shadows seemed to move in the corners of his vision, and the forest beyond the cabin's windows became an impenetrable wall of darkness. When the first rays of sunlight finally filtered through the trees, he felt a faint glimmer of relief. Exhausted but compelled by a mix of fear and curiosity, he reached for his phone to review the photos. The initial images were chaotic, a mess of overexposed light and shaky angles. He nearly dismissed them entirely until he scrolled further. And then he saw it. Clear as day, captured in stark detail, was the creature. Its silhouette was imposing, the fur thick and textured, the face both alien and eerily familiar. One photo showed its glowing eyes reflecting the flash, casting an otherworldly intensity that seemed to pierce through the screen. Another image captured the contours of its massive shoulders, the musculature evident even beneath the dense fur. The photos sent a shiver down his spine. They were undeniable. He spent hours examining every detail, enlarging the images to study the creature's features. It wasn't just the size that struck him, though that alone was staggering. It was the intelligence in its expression. The creature's gaze wasn't vacant or animalistic.
Oh, there he goes.
It felt deliberate, almost knowing, as if it understood more than it should. The decision to share the photos weighed heavily on him. It's not uncommon for ridicule to follow in the wake of such wild claims. The dismissal from skeptics without a second thought was nerve-wracking. But he also felt a responsibility to reveal what he had seen. These weren't just blurry shapes or ambiguous forms. These were images that could spark serious discussions and maybe even change the way people viewed the legend of Bigfoot. He uploaded the photos to an online forum dedicated to unexplained phenomena, using an anonymous account to shield his identity. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Believers hailed the images as the most convincing evidence yet, while skeptics dissected every pixel, accusing him of fabrication. Some pointed to the creature's posture, noting how it matched descriptions from countless other sightings. Others marveled at the glow in its eyes, speculating on what kind of creature could exhibit such a feature. But no matter the opinions, one thing was certain. These photos had reignited the debate. The man's encounter became a focal point for both believers and skeptics, a story that would linger in the minds of all who saw the images. For him, the photos were more than just evidence. They were a reminder of the night he came face to face with the unknown. Sharing the evidence. Imagine holding the kind of secret that could flip everything people think they know on its head. That's exactly where this man found himself. He wasn't blind to the risks, the mockery, the accusations of fakery, the endless scrutiny. But as he stared at the photos on his phone, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about him. This wasn't just another story to be dismissed or ignored. Whatever he saw was bigger than personal doubt. It felt like a discovery that needed to see the light of day. Using an anonymous account, he uploaded the images to several online communities devoted to unexplained phenomena. He chose these forums carefully, hoping to find an audience that would approach the photos with an open mind. It was a great idea to start with people open to his story because the responses were immediate and hopeful.
That one. Oh, okay, no, I'm not. Okay, that's, yeah, you're in the perfect place right there.
Believers flooded the forums with excitement, hailing the photos as groundbreaking evidence of Bigfoot's existence. They pointed out details in the creature's posture, the glowing eyes, and its sheer size. Some compared the images to descriptions from previous sightings, marveling at the similarities. Others analyzed the creature's physical traits, suggesting it could be a previously undocumented species. The photos were shared widely, sparking discussions and debates across multiple platforms. Skeptics, however, were equally vocal. Disbelievers of Bigfoot weren't going to sit back and take the pictures at face value. They dissected every pixel of the photos, searching for signs of forgery or manipulation. Some claimed the images were staged, pointing to the creature's stillness as evidence of a costume or model. Others dismissed the photos outright, insisting they were part of an elaborate hoax. The man's anonymity only fueled their doubts, with many questioning why he wouldn't reveal his identity if his experience was genuine. The debate grew more intense as experts weighed in. Photographers analyzed the lighting and shadows in the images, with some concluding that the photos showed no obvious signs of tampering. Biologists speculated about the creature's anatomy, while anthropologists compared the sighting to folklore from the Pacific Northwest. The discussion extended beyond the online forums, drawing attention from mainstream media and even scientific circles. For the man, the reactions were both validating and overwhelming. While he was relieved to find others who believed his story, the skepticism and accusations took a toll. He began to question whether sharing the photos had been the right decision.
Something's watching my dog.
Yet, despite the backlash, he felt a sense of purpose. The encounter had left an unerasable mark on him, and he believed it was his responsibility to bring the truth, or at least the possibility of it, to light. After all, if Bigfoot really is out there, people need to know. It's a safety hazard for curious hikers around the world. In the end, the photos did more than reignite the debate about Bigfoot's existence. They became a focal point for broader questions about the unknown. How much do we really understand about the world around us? Could there be creatures that have eluded discovery for centuries? And if so, what does that say about humanity's place in the natural order? As the man continued to follow the discussions online, he couldn't help but wonder what might have happened if he hadn't taken those photos. Would anyone have believed his story without them? And more importantly, what else might be lurking out there, waiting to be discovered? The debate rages on. The man's photos weren't the first to get people arguing. Bigfoot's been stirring up debates for centuries. He's basically the original internet troll. Indigenous tribes in the Pacific Northwest have long spoken of Sasquatch as a forest guardian. But is it really a protector? Or just really good at hide and seek? Legends paint it as a towering figure, equal parts awe-inspiring and fearsome, with a knack for vanishing into thin air. How does something that big just disappear? That's part of the mystery, and why people can't stop talking about it. For many, these legends hold a kernel of truth. The consistency in descriptions across generations.
Their voice is something it's like I can't get enough of it. Just love it.
The immense size, the glowing eyes, the human-like posture suggests that the stories are based on real encounters. Even skeptics can't entirely dismiss the cultural weight of such accounts, especially when they mirror modern sightings so closely. But skepticism runs deep. Critics often argue that Bigfoot sightings lack tangible proof. Without high-definition video footage or physical evidence, such as a body or bones, it's easy to dismiss the creature as a myth. The absence of corroborating witnesses in many sightings only adds to the doubt. How is it possible, they ask, that a creature of such size and notoriety could remain undetected in an age of smartphones and surveillance? Yet, how do we explain the similarities in countless accounts? Could so many people across different times and places be imagining the same thing? Psychologists have explored the possibility of cultural memory, or shared myths shaping perceptions. Still, this doesn't account for physical evidence such as footprints, hair samples, or audio recordings of strange guttural sounds. These artifacts, while not definitive, continue to fuel the mystery. Believers argue that Bigfoot's elusiveness is precisely what makes it so extraordinary. The dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, with their wild terrain and vast uninhabited areas, provide an ideal habitat for a creature adept at avoiding humans. The lack of definitive proof, they say, is not evidence of absence, but a testament to the creature's intelligence and survival skills. Some scientists have entertained the idea that Bigfoot could be a relic species, perhaps a distant relative of Gigantopithecus, an ancient ape thought to have gone extinct thousands of years ago. If such a species managed to survive in isolated pockets, it could explain the sporadic sightings and lack of physical evidence. However, without concrete proof, this remains speculative. The man's photos added another layer to the debate. For believers, they were a breakthrough, images that captured the essence of the creature described in so many stories. For skeptics, they were just another set of blurry images to scrutinize.
It looked really, really human. The face was human. I could see the eyelashes, you know, the eyes, the teeth. The teeth were big teeth.
The debate over their authenticity was as heated as the broader discussion about Bigfoot's existence. In the end, the photos became a symbol of the enduring mystery. They forced people to confront questions about the unknown and the limits of human understanding. Is it possible that such a creature could exist, hidden in the shadows of our world? Or is Bigfoot simply a projection of our deepest fears and curiosities, a modern myth born from our fascination with the wild? As the debate rages on, one thing is certain: the legend of Bigfoot continues to captivate. Whether it's a relic of ancient times, a figment of imagination, or something entirely unknown, it challenges us to explore the boundaries of belief and evidence. The man's encounter, like so many before it, reminds us that the world is vast and full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Other chilling encounters. This sighting isn't isolated. Washington State, in particular, is a hotspot for Bigfoot activity. Take Barb's story, for instance. Her fascination with Sasquatch began in the 1970s during a camping trip near Mount St. Helens. One evening, she and her family heard strange, echoing calls from the dense forest. They dismissed it as an animal at the time, but the haunting sound stayed with Barb for years. Decades later, while walking near her remote cabin, she discovered massive footprints pressed into the soil. Each print was larger than any human foot, with toes clearly defined. It was enough to reignite her curiosity. Her experiences didn't end there. Barb began noticing other strange phenomena: snapped treetops, arranged branches that formed crude structures, and even glowing orbs darting through the trees. It only takes one experience to open your eyes to a whole new world of possibilities. These occurrences felt deliberate, as if left by an intelligent being. On one particularly eerie night, she captured what she described as a cloaking Sasquatch on camera. The figure seemed to shift in and out of visibility, defying all logic and leaving her stunned. If that doesn't sound like a real mythical creature, then what does? Then there's Joseph, who had a harrowing encounter in Olympic National Park. While hiking with his girlfriend and their dog, the couple came across a grisly scene: a massive orange-haired creature carrying what appeared to be a bloody carcass. The sight was enough to freeze them in their tracks. Their dog, usually fearless, whimpered and refused to move. Joseph described the creature as towering and muscular, its fur matted and streaked with blood. The couple quickly retreated, the dog's behavior cementing their fear. But these are just two stories among many. In the Pacific Northwest alone, reports of strange sightings, eerie sounds, and unexplained footprints number in the hundreds. Hunters have recounted chilling nights in the woods, where deep, guttural howls seem to follow their every move. Campers have shared tales of rocks being thrown at their tents from unseen assailants, a behavior often attributed to Sasquatch. What sets these encounters apart is the consistency in descriptions. Witnesses, often from vastly different backgrounds, report similar features: immense size, glowing eyes, and an air of quiet dominance. The creature's intelligence is frequently remarked upon, with some describing its behavior as almost human-like. These shared elements lend credence to the idea that there may be more to these stories than mere imagination. Encounters like Barb's and Joseph's also raise interesting questions about the nature of Bigfoot.
He's coming on. He's there. He's gonna pop up in the popping up. Take the berries.
Is it purely a physical creature, a remnant of a bygone era? Or does its ability to evade capture and leave only fleeting traces suggest something more supernatural? Some researchers speculate that Bigfoot might possess heightened sensory abilities or even an awareness that allows it to avoid human detection. Others wonder if the creature's elusiveness is tied to the vastness of its habitat, where it can disappear into dense forests and rugged terrain with ease. Whether physical or supernatural, the accounts serve as chilling reminders of how much remains unknown. Barb's snapped treetops and glowing orbs, Joseph's grisly encounter, and countless other stories paint a picture of a world that still holds secrets. A legacy of mystery. For centuries, the mystery of Bigfoot has lingered, defying explanation. This creature, often called Sasquatch, has rooted itself deeply in the stories and imaginations of countless cultures. Indigenous tribes in North America, especially in the Pacific Northwest, spoke of a forest guardian, a towering, shadowy figure that could both terrify and inspire. These tales, passed down through generations, are not just folklore to those who tell them. They are warnings, testaments to encounters with something extraordinary. Science, too, has flirted with the possibility of Bigfoot's existence. Theories abound, suggesting it could be a relic species like Gigantopithecus, a massive ape that roamed ancient Earth. Could such a creature have survived in remote, uninhabited regions? Some researchers believe it's possible, pointing to the dense, untouched forests of the Pacific Northwest as ideal habitats for such an elusive being. However, without hard evidence, bones, fur samples, or clear video footage, the scientific community remains divided. The fear Bigfoot instills in witnesses also adds to its mystique. Those who claim to have encountered the creature often describe not just terror, but a profound sense of being watched by something intelligent, almost otherworldly. This blend of fear and fascination has cemented Bigfoot's place in modern culture as a symbol of the unknown. So, what did the man capture in his photos? Was it truly Bigfoot, straddling the line between myth and reality? Or was it something else entirely? A trick of light, a bear, or an elaborate hoax? The lack of definitive answers is what keeps the mystery alive. Every sighting, every footprint, every eerie howl in the woods feeds into a collective narrative that refuses to be confined to mere legend. The forests still hold their secrets, and among them may be a towering figure that defies explanation. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. Will we ever uncover it, or is Bigfoot destined to remain one of the world's greatest mysteries? As long as there are those brave enough to venture into the unknown, the legend will endure. Bigfoot, whether it exists or not, challenges us to keep searching, to question the limits of human understanding, and to embrace the mysteries that make life so endlessly fascinating. Its legacy is not just one of fear or folklore, but of curiosity and wonder, an enduring symbol of the unknown that continues to captivate imaginations around the globe. It stands as a reminder that some mysteries are worth pursuing, even when answers seem just out of reach.